Well, about some years ago, I was called by a major businessman, and he asked me if I would do a talk for his 800 entrepreneurs that own separate franchises within his organization on how to become a self-made millionaire. And I said, sure. When you're a young speaker, you agree to speak on any subject. Sure, I'll speak on that subject. Now, I was just like most people. When I was young, I wanted to be a millionaire by the time I was 30. And when I hit 30, I put it off to 35. And as I got to 35, you put it off to 40, and then you kind of just don't look at it anymore. You forget about it and feel the deck is stacked against you. Well, I was about 38, 39 when he called me up and asked me. I said, sure, no problem. And I said, now, what do I know about self-made millionaires? And this is a shocker. I didn't know anything. Oh, I knew that they had more than $1 million, but that's a real basic piece of knowledge, you know. So I started thinking, what do I know about it? So I began to study them. And that's when I found out that they've been studied so thoroughly, is we know everything there is to know about them. They are a source of incredible fascination. And there's 50 years of research. So I began to read the studies and find out where they came from and what they did and how they thought and where they started and the decisions they made and the kind of people they were.
Let's talk about it. I think that we've been hypnotized and conditioned into believing that, you know, we have to do something in order to have an experience in three-dimensional reality, and this is the plane of demonstration. So when we have the experience, the end product of an experience is an emotion, right? So that's the payoff. When you have your abundance, when you have your new relationship, when you have your new career, you live in separation from the emotion until the experience occurs, and then when the experience occurs, it takes away the lack or separation of not having it. Nothing wrong with that. That's the rules of three-dimensional reality, and you can get really good at it. You know, you could go to school, you can make the right choices, you can learn from your mistakes, you can be trained to get better at it, and you can develop skills, and you can accumulate resources, and it can get easier for you. But in the quantum, if you're creating from the field instead of from matter, which is a broad conversation, you have to feel it in order to experience it. And so that's kind of a reversal, because most people will say, well, I'm not going to feel gratitude until my healing actually happens. Well, it turns out that you got to feel gratitude in order for the healing to happen. And our data shows that over and over again. So your body is so objective that when you feel the emotion before the experience, it doesn't know the difference between the real life experience that's creating that emotion and the emotion that you're fabricating by thought alone. The body's actually believing it's living in a new environment, a new condition. So it turns out it requires, if you're looking at a secret sauce, we've kind of whittled it down to a formula. And it requires a clear intention, and that is a vision of what you want to have happen, and that is selecting a new possibility, an unknown, that you would like to experience. Okay, so what does that require? That requires your brain being really coherent. So we've isolated the process of being able to make your brain work better. And I talked to the brain scientists a few times, and I said, tell me what percentage of people that immerse themselves in an event for 7 days, what percentage of those people do their brains get better? They said 100%, 100%. So we know that you can make your brain work better if you learn that formula. Okay, so now we have a clear intention, but that's only one element. There is another element that is the handmaiden to that, and that is an elevated emotion. Now, elevated emotion, I'm talking about, so many people feel with every single body part except their heart. I mean, that's just kind of a weird thing that we do as human beings. Well, you protect that, you know, it's you're being vulnerable in the jungle means you're more likely to be taken advantage of, you know, and you get bruised or injured in your life. You kind of learn from that, and you protect it, right? So in the creative process, the heart is the creative center. We have compelling data to show that once you open that heart of yours and it starts beating in a rhythm and a coherence, it actually informs the brain it's safe to create.
One of the things that I learned, by the way, is that becoming a self-made millionaire is not the important thing. What is really important is the person you have to become a self-made millionaire. You have to become a totally different human being. One of my friends says that in order to achieve something you've never achieved before, you have to become someone you've never been before. And it's a really important insight, is the qualities that you need to develop, the qualities on the inside to become a self-made millionaire, are incredible qualities that make you a vastly better person. not only better in terms of character, determination, discipline, decision-making, strength, and so on, but they make you a far better person. They round out your character in a far better way. So that the real payoff of becoming wealthy is not because you can eat more, because how many more meals can you eat, how many more clothes can you wear, because it's the kind of person that you become, and then the kind of people that you associate, the kind of life that you have.
Actually tells the brain to get creative, and brainwaves change. And so when you combine that coherent heart and elevated emotion, and you start feeling the emotions before the experience, the heart actually produces an external magnetic field. Well, now you got a Wi-Fi signal, and that field could actually resonate with a coherent brain, the intent. And the thought is the electrical charge that sends the signal out. It's the directive. And the elevated emotion, that feeling is a magnetic charge. And we've got enough information to show that the heart's the magnet. So you're going to draw the experience to you with your heart. So when there's a kind of match in frequency between some potential in the quantum field and what you would like to experience, and you keep tuning in to that potential, and you're actually creating from the field instead of from matter, the rules change. Now you don't have to go anywhere to get what you want. Somehow the experience finds you, and it comes in unexpected and surprising ways to prove to you that you're actually a creator in your life. And when that occurs, then it's no longer like I have to meditate. It's actually like I'm not going to stop doing this because I don't want the magic to end.
What I found in my research is that there's a series of qualities that self-made millionaires have. If you have these qualities, your success is virtually guaranteed. And if you don't have these qualities, the qualities are learnable. Point number one is that all business or sales skills are learnable. All financial skills are learnable. If you can drive a car, you can learn any skill. If you can drive a car, you can learn this skill. Now, number two is you're probably only one skill away from doubling your income right now. You're probably only one skill away from setting yourself on the road to becoming a self-made millionaire. That turns out to be the case for almost everyone. And if you don't know what that skill is, maybe over the course of the time we spend together, it'll jump out at you. But whatever it is, you've got to find it out and go to work on it, because it is learnable. It's a learnable skill. People say, well, I've never been very good with money. Well, get over it. Fact of the matter is, you can learn what you need to learn to achieve anything that you want to achieve.
That's what I'm really super proud about in our community. We're doers, we do the work, not because we have to, or to please God, or do the right thing, or not feel guilty, or we do it because we don't want the magic to end in all those synchronicities, all those coincidences, all those opportunities that start appearing in our life to prove to us what I did inside of me is somehow producing some effect outside of me. And if I can correlate what I did inside with me with those synchronicities, those opportunities that are happening outside of me, I'm going to pay attention to what I'm doing and do it again. And my belief in what's possible actually broadens. And I've been studying people in the last 6 months or so, because my belief about what's possible has actually changed in witnessing so many people's transformations. I never thought I would see multiple sclerosis, or muscular dystrophy, or amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or blindness, or paralysis change in 7 days. I mean, this is kind of crazy stuff that we're witnessing. And I listen to the testimonials of these people, and I talk to them. And what they change is their doubt in what's possible.
The success secrets of self-made millionaires. Give yourself a score of 1 to 10, and if you are weak on one of these, it can be enough to hold you back. If you're strong on all of these, then there's no limit to what you can accomplish. The first is to dream big dreams. Dream big dreams. Practice what is called back from the future thinking and project forward. Develop a vision of yourself as happy, healthy, wealthy, thin. Practice what top people practice, which is what is called idealization. You project forward several years, and that you imagine that your life is perfect in every way. Imagine that you have no limitations. Imagine that you have all the time and all the money and all the friends and all the contacts and all the education, all the experience, and that you could be or have or do anything you want in life. If you could, what would it be? If your life were perfect in 5 years, what would it look like? How much would you be earning? How much would you be worth? What kind of a family life would you have? What kind of health would you have? What kind of car would you be driving? what would your life be like if you could wave a magic wand and make it perfect in every way? Now, what we have found is this is the starting point of great riches, and it's the starting point of great success in life, is for you to have a dream or a vision of a wonderful future.
And we were kind of talking about this before we started. It's so relevant for all of us because some people think they do the meditation. If I do this meditation, I'll heal. And when I listened really closely to those people, and some of them did their meditations 2 and 3 times a day. Why? Because no chemo, no drug, no surgery, no diet, no exercise was actually changing their health at all. And nothing changes in our life until we change.
Yeah.
So they were doing their meditation 2 and 3 times a day, not because they thought if I meditate more and try harder, it's going to work. They defaulted back to the doubt that it was possible. Now, when you respond and react to someone or something in your life and you get back into the familiar feeling of yourself, you're going to believe in your past more than you're going to believe in your future. So they did the meditation to change their state. They got that clear intention back again. They felt their elevated emotion. When they felt the elevated emotion, they actually believed in their future again because they could feel connected to it. So they were doing their meditations 2 and 3 times a day, not to do it more so they could heal, but they defaulted back to their doubt and they had to go back and change their belief. And so many of them now, after their moment, they say, now I have no doubt, like no doubt. There was a guy in London that came to our event in August with muscular dystrophy, a really rare form of Baker's or Slim-Gard's muscular dystrophy. It's progressive. That you look at it on the internet anywhere, it'll say there is no cure for it. He came in a wheelchair. He walked out of that event. He was walking. They just sent me a video of him this week walking down the street in India, just strolling down the street. Like you I don't know if people really understand like the magnitude of that. That is going so against convention. It's such an unusual thing to witness. I watched that video 50 times in the beginning, over and over again, because I just had to say, wow, this is unbelievable. I got to really remember what's possible as human beings. And it is really changing our belief from a state of doubt. Like doubt is the emotion that keeps us connected to believing in the past. And then feeling the elevated emotion causes us to believe more in the future.
Here's an exercise that we give people in our audiences, is take a sheet of paper and make up what is called a dream list. Now imagine this is kind of like a kid's Christmas list, and that it just allows you to just run wild and just write down everything that you could think of that you could possibly want. I had a friend who I taught this to, and he got so excited about it, he bought a spiral notebook, and he began writing, and he'd go through the newspaper, and every single thing he saw in the newspaper that was nice, he wrote it down as goal. He ended up, first time through, with 330 goals. With the end of the month, he had 500 things that he wanted. The interesting thing was that his life exploded. He activated the law of attraction, and he began to attract into his life people, circumstances, ideas, resources, insights that began to move him toward the accomplishment of the goals and began to move the goals toward him.